gorgeous day in D.C. Well, a new report says there's a pickup in homes facing foreclosure. Realty Track is now reporting foreclosure activity rose by 9% in May. Georgia's the hardest hit state with a 33% increase from just a month ago. Now, the worst metro area, that's Riverside, San Bernardino in Southern California, with 1 in 179 houses under foreclosure. And my next guest is running a foreclosure prevention workshop in his home district today, where the numbers are a little bit better, but the threat is just as daunting. Joining right now is Democratic Maryland Congressman Elijah Cummings. Sir, thank you for being here. Good to see you.
It's good to be with you, Alex.
Let's talk about this workshop you're conducting in the district today. How much can actually be done to help people there?
Oh, a lot can be done. This is our 7th one in the last 2 years. And what we do is we have the banks and the servicers to come in and meet with our constituents who are finding themselves in difficulty with regard to their mortgage payments. Some of them are in foreclosure. Some of them are about to go into foreclosure. And basically, we ask them to bring all their documents in showing their financial status. The bankers come in with their computers, and they literally sit down and work out modifications with our constituents. We usually have about 1,000 people to show up, and usually we're able to help at least 800 of them stay in their homes.
Oh, well, that is actually great. If you're looking at, that's about an 80% helping rate. That's terrific. What about, though, overall, sir, the crisis in terms of how it's impacted the black community in particular?
It has impacted the black community tremendously. One of the things that I've told people is that, you know, a lot of times for African Americans, this house that they live in is the only house they've ever owned. And it is certainly the source of the money that they're able to, the source to, you know, to be able to borrow money, use it as collateral, and of course it's where they live and where their children actually do their homework and play and what have you. And so basically, when you have foreclosures in the African American community, but in any community, it not only affects that immediate block, but then it spreads out. I mean, because the home values go down. Not only that, when you have vacancies, that means that all kinds of problems take place. And then instead of the city getting taxes from those houses, basically they are paying in many instances to maintain them. So it's a drain on not only the homeowners, but it's also a drain on the municipality.
Absolutely. Let's move to the topic of gun violence, sir, because in 25 cities across this country, there are going to be demonstrations today to talk about gun violence, to fight it, particularly in black neighborhoods. It is an effort that has been started by Reverend Jesse Jackson's Rainbow Push Coalition. You represent a district there in Baltimore in particular. It has struggled with violence for years. So I'm curious what can be done, although I do want to give this note that for the first time in 10 years, your city is no longer in the top 5 murder cities. So that something good's happening there. Something's getting turned around.
And we've had a 50% drop in the homicide rate and a 70% drop in shootings and a 37% drop in juvenile shootings. I think basically what happens, first of all, I applaud Reverend Jackson for doing what he's doing, but we've got to find a way to keep our kids in school, provide them with education that they find interesting. That's one of the things. We've got to do something about guns, the availability of guns. I live in the inner city of Baltimore, and when I talk to the kids in my community, they tell me they can get a gun as fast as they can get a cigarette. So it's you know, the guns are out there and they're everywhere. And the other thing that we've got to do, we've got to find jobs for these young people. A lot of these people, young people, are getting out of high school with no jobs. Some of them, unfortunately, drop out. And then there's no training. And now, with the way things are going in Washington, training dollars are being cut substantially, and certainly the job situation is pretty bad. And then when you look at a lot of the crime that takes place, a lot of it is you've got robberies, and of course you've got a lot of crimes that are related. We've got to find money for drug treatment, things of that nature. So, you know, as my nephew a year ago was killed at Old Dominion University in what we think was a robbery, and it was likely an African American that killed him. So I'm very familiar with this subject, but again, we've got to concentrate, as Reverend Jackson is doing, on these young men, and we have to give them more opportunities to be able to get an education and to get a job and to be trained.
Absolutely. I couldn't agree with you more. May I ask you quickly, sir, your concern about voter fraud in this country and the purge underway in Florida? I mean, there's been those lawsuits back and forth.
I am extremely concerned, very upset. I think what the governor is doing down there is unpatriotic, and I think it's very sad when he's trying to purge the voter rolls and basically eliminating people who are legitimate voters, and many of whom have voted for many years, by bringing in this methodology of sending notices to people and saying they've got to respond within 30 days. And if they don't respond in 30 days, they're no longer on the rolls. I think this is another way of stopping Democrats, mainly African Americans, Hispanics, from voting. And I think it's very sad, and I think we should do every single thing in our power to stop him and any other governor from doing anything of this nature.
All right, Representative Elijah Cummings, thank you for weighing in, sir, on all the topics this morning.
Thank you.
Today, Daredevil Nick